A sassy diva that takes no BS, demands respect, and has major mommy issues. Not me, although how sweet of you to think so. No, the character I'm describing here is Angelica Pickles. In this video, I'm going to tell you why Angelica isn't actually selfish, she's just misunderstood. Along the way, hopefully you'll see just why I love her so very much, and at the end of this video, I'm going to ask you one question that will have you see Angelica and those like her differently forever. Recently, my fiance and I sat down to watch Rugrats in Paris. Finally. For context, this was my favorite childhood movie, and Mr. Project Sage had never seen it. We had originally planned to watch it last fall while we were on vacation, but instead he decided to propose, so we were happy and in love, and honestly the movie was pretty far from my mind. But now I can say that we've both seen it, and I also have to say that it holds up pretty dang well. Not only narratively, but also character-wise and also artistically. Now, I'll get more into the characters and more specifically Angelica after I say this one thing. As an artist, or if you're a creative in any capacity, please go and watch this movie if you can. The way the scenes used complementary colors, specifically orange and blue, to push the foreground and background of environments or hold space for the emotion of a moment was beautifully done. The simple shadows used in complex character design emphasize the art while still accurately representing 3D space. A true lesson of less is more was used in every single scene. I am not glazing this movie enough. Seriously, if you want to put your creative lessons to a final summary, watch Rugrats in Paris. But as much as I enjoyed the brushstrokes, the real masterpiece, I feel, of this movie is the psychological deconstruction of its junior antagonists. The babies all have distinct and memorable personalities. Tommy is a leader due to his desire to answer his and his friends' questions about the adult world. He's an optimist about it too, which is cute. Meanwhile, his baby brother Dill has that same innate curiosity, he's just more of a pessimist with it and a bit of a troublemaker. This all actually turns him into a conspiracy theorist as he grows up, which is also very funny and cute. Then there is Phil and Lil. Lillian is a dramatic, romantic, while her twin brother, Philip, serves as her ground into reality and a king of one-liners. Chucky is a sensitive realist, and his sister Kimmy is a leader in the sense that she's a daredevil who doesn't really understand no. As a quick side note, Kimmy leads from experience. Tommy leads from curiosity. Tommy acts as the theory and Kimmy acts as the hypothesis. Together is when they test for the right answer. It's why these two headstrong characters can exist in seasons after the movie premiered without clashing in personality. Now, Susie does not get much screen time in Rugrats in Paris, but her character is important to explore before we get to Angelica because her flaws expose Angelica's strengths. I know that sounds backwards, stick with me. Now, Susie as a character is, in a word, refreshing. As a little black girl myself, she was definitely a lifeboat in a sea of misbehaving babies. She had manners, good sense, and was respectful to adults and babies alike. She valued teamwork, was at least bilingual, and was the voice of reason throughout the show. So basically, Susie was boring. She was way too perfect, okay? Too good and very unrelatable. And then the self-described prettiest, smartest, bestest girl enters the chat. Angelica. Angelica Pickles always has been, is, and always will be my favorite Rugrats character. If there are no more Angelica fans in this world, then I and the cult that I created to love and adore her as much as I do are all gone. Mourn us well.
But Angelica's so mean, though. She's a bad little girl and has a cookie-eating problem.
Well, so does Cookie Monster, but you don't see him getting flack. In all seriousness, if you take the little blonde diva at flat value, then yeah, she's all of those negative descriptors and very easy to write off. But what if you treat her more like an ogre? That is to say, like an onion, and peel back her layers. Then you'll finally see why she is so criminally misunderstood. Angelica has mommy issues. That's it, really. That's the video, but please, let me obsessively rant about my passions for the rest of the video's runtime, okay? I promised you a question to change the way you think, and I will deliver it, so don't be rude. As someone with my own set of mommy issues, Angelica is a character that I could relate to and thus learn from. Let me break it down for you. Charlotte Pickles is a boss. She's an amazing mother when she's given the chance to be and is around. But that's the thing. She isn't really around, is she? Angelica is at her Aunt Dee Dee and Uncle Stu's house nearly every single day. Now, her dad isn't around much either, but this isn't about you, Drew, okay? Sit down. Man, I am sassy today. I think I'm embodying Angelica. Anyway, Angelica is starved for attention and validation, especially from the place of an active, participating mother figure in her life, Aunt Dee Dee. Aunt Dee Dee is always there as a stay-at-home mother, and Angelica craves to be recognized by her, to be loved by her, and yes, to earn her cookies. That's right, Aunt Dee Dee always has a cookie jar full of chocolate chip cookies, which I find disgusting, chocolate chip cookies that is, but Angelica finds as a representation of a mother's love. She wants cookies because she wants love. The more cookies, the more love she has from a mother figure in her life. She is validated by every single crumb, and she'll lick it from the plate if she has to. Now, another way Angelica self-fulfills the validation she seeks is through mimicry of, you guessed it, her mother. Angelica, the firstborn girl of the Pickles family, is a witness to the respect, fear, and adoration her mother earns from being the HBIC. If you know, you know. As a little girl who wants to be just like her mommy, what does Angelica serve to the babies? That's right, a healthy dose of performative boss babe. Boss baby. She is the big kid. She is the one with the knowledge of the adult world. She is the one with the answers to their questions. She is the one that can both talk to the adults and talk to the babies. She is the boss in this dynamic, at least in her mind. That's who she is, and that's the role that she's meant to fulfill. To Angelica, every bossed around dumb baby is respect she's earning and thus love she is hoarding from her absent mother. Now, of course, this is, as I said, performative, a one-dimensional understanding of what being a boss is performed by a child. That's why the things Angelica does come off as mean. They're not well-thought-out actions. They're just what she thinks a boss would do in every given scenario. Angelica is more like that one toxic manager of yours that makes you do all the work for the whole team. If things are going well, then that manager takes the credit. If things are going poorly, then that manager is full fist grabbing you by your work uniform and throwing you under the bus with a smile on their face. Versus a true tough but good boss that demands greatness from their staff, but actually cares about them as people as well. It's a mythical manager, okay, I know, but one can imagine, right? Right? Which somehow brings me around to accountability. The consequences of Angelica's actions catch up to her big time as the plot of Rugrats in Paris reaches its climax. She is a vital cog in the main antagonist's machine that came into Chaz's life and did its best to ruin it. However, Angelica is self-aware. I guess we can attribute that to the perks of gaining consciousness already. Though it was uncomfortable for all involved, when it came time for the truth to be spilled like milk, Angelica didn't cry, whine, or lie. She told the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help her Bob. No trying to make herself look better, and no playing the sympathetic victim with a sad backstory. No, it was all on display, including the selfish desires that led to her impulsive and destructive decisions. And then she admitted, without having to be coached, mind you, how wrong what she did was. How she could recognize that she crossed the line from bossy older cousin to a terrible little person. And not only did she accept fault on her own, she accompanied the babies in a final solution to their imprisonment and a resolution to the story. Heck, she even more than atoned for her sins. If you haven't seen the end of Rugrats in Paris, at one point, my fiance literally asked if Angelica is a ghost because she should have died like 3 times already. And is that not human? Not the living through traumatic, death-defying incidents, although that too, I guess, but the making mistakes. I mean, you can pretend to not have a history of learned lessons if you'd like to, but I'll be the first in line to admit I am not Jesus, and the word perfect appears nowhere on my resume. As a child, witnessing Angelica own up to her own faults and move forward with redemptive action was an amazing display. Maybe as a result of or in accompanying Angelica's actions, I'm also the first to admit when I mess up in my life. And I will, admittedly, punish myself worse than anyone else will, but I'm working on it, guys, okay? And you should work on it too if you do that. Unlike some people that we can point to. So, as much as I appreciate Susie's presence as a Rugrat, I will never build that revered parasocial relationship with her. She's just too, quote-unquote, perfect. Now, don't look at all grown-up Susie because that's a whole different story. The girl was going through it, okay, by every fault of her own sometimes, and I admittedly liked her more because of it. I know it's so sick and twisted, but Susie represents who we are supposed to be, and Angelica represents who we actually are. I really could keep going on and on and on about the many deep layers of Angelica's character, like how her parents attempt to make up for their absence from her formative years by buying her gifts and how that manifests in her life. But I think I've talked about my obsession for long enough today. So stay curious and suffer the consequences. And to concisely summarize why flawed characters will always be more special to us, I have that one question I promised you guys at the very beginning of this video. Who would you rather have as a podcast guest for an interview? Angelica at 30 years old, or the modern Snow White?